we're doing here really, its build is making Jim's banana bread. However, I think a broader discussion is probably good because it's really probably banana nut bread, but you probably heard of date nut bread, carrot bread. There's a whole kind of, the recipes vary practically not at all, because I've read a bunch of them for making all kinds of either vegetable breads, banana bread, and so forth. One of the rules I use in cooking for myself, and I've taken a lot of cooking classes, I always do the recipe that I'm given the first time exactly the way it is. And then virtually the second time, I change stuff. I have found that when I make like vegetable souffles and things, that when I do that, I have found, let's say you do zucchini or broccoli, if you like things like cheese and sour cream and breadcrumbs and eggs, whatever you like, if you throw it into a souffle, it can't be bad because you like everything that goes in it. That's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to vary recipes because I virtually don't make anything the same way twice, because things like banana bread, it depends what I have. And today we're going to be putting in things that you might not think of normally, but like chopped dates. And I think you're reading it backwards, but it's dates. I don't know what it'd be spelled the other way. But anyway, we have about a half a cup of dates. We're going to be putting those in. So instead of just banana bread, it's banana nut date bread. Well, not exactly, because I also, we use a little bit of craisins. These are like raisins, except they come from a palm. Raisins are grapes. And we're going to be measuring in some of these because I like these. We're not putting in any raisins because I don't like raisins. So that's why we're not doing that. If you like raisins, that's fine.
Blueberries.
Blueberries work. I put blueberries in banana bread. And then I've already chopped the nuts up. My staff did this for me yesterday before they took the weekend off. Now, the nut thing is another interesting thing. Most of the recipes call for either walnuts or pecans. I have walnuts in this, no pecans, because I don't have any pecans. But I had some peanuts from, cocktail peanuts. I threw those in. Then I had some trail mix that I thought looked pretty good, so I chopped it up. In other words, what I'm trying to get across is, if you like something and you put it in a recipe, the end result is pretty good. I'll tell you, I've even done, the little marshmallows, not the big ones, but the little ones that you use for like Rocky Road and stuff. I put those in, and they work, except it makes the banana bread sticky, but tastes good. So, even though the recipe says Jim's banana bread, it's really Jim's banana, nut, craisin, date, walnut bread.
Variations.
So, now one of the things we have to do with banana bread, you have to have bananas, and you need rotten bananas. Sounds crazy, but I'll show you what a rotten banana looks like. It looks like this black looking thing. It's on the edge of nasty. But the way you get a rotten banana is you have leftover bananas, and then over a period of time, you put them in your banana bag in the freezer. That's actually important because what it does, it breaks down the proteins and the consistency of the banana, and they come out like mush. I'm going to show you all this in a minute when we start skinning the bananas. But that's important because if you try to use, I'd have banana bread people have made, and they try to use or they use fairly fresh bananas that have just been in the refrigerator, and the banana bread comes out grainy. It doesn't have the consistency that you want. The other thing, if you notice my recipe, it shows about 25% more banana than any recipe I've ever seen other than mine. And the reason is that I think the banana bread should be moist, because otherwise it comes out like regular old bread. So anyway, so now we're going to start playing with the bananas, and they're gooky. That's a technical cooking term, but what you have to do here is it's going to take, you get a spoon and you want to get all the stuff out of the inside of that banana skin. And you really, I got a soup spoon here, and it looks kind of not good, but it's okay. Thank you. My lovely assistant said it looks gooky, which is, that's a technical term I think I mentioned. So, okay, so we got to get the banana out of the skin. Yeah. Wait a minute. Oh, that's good. We need that. Thank you, honey. So let's get all the banana out here. And then the other thing is, if you want to make, if you're pretty sure at some point in time you want to make banana bread, the bananas can sit in the freezer forever. I mean, you know, they don't do anything in there. I guess they talk to each other or something. And so, like, sometimes I'll have a half a banana for breakfast and not eat the other half for a while, and it starts going kind of stinky. So I said, okay, we'll have to wait and do this later. So I just put it in the freezer, and then when I want make banana bread, just get it out. Now, we're going to end up here with about 2.5 cups, which is more than any recipe I've ever seen for banana bread.
Jim, I have a question for you, please.
Yep.
When you put them in the freezer, do you peel them first?
No.
Is there a reason? Is there a reason for that? Because usually I stick mine in the freezer without that, so that one I have to go scraping it out.
Yeah, see, I'm scraping it out now. These have been sitting in the freezer for, I don't know, sometimes for probably a month or more.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is there a difference in the banana if it's frozen with the peel or without the peel?
Yes.
And what is
because
that?
when we get down to the bag, there's a whole bunch of liquid in it. It's the peel is dissolving while it's in the freezer, and the banana oil is coming out. And in some countries, banana oil is a big deal. Here, it's just kind of slippery. But you do not want to peel them before you put them in the freezer. Now, that's what I'm saying, though. I'm not sure what I would call this. It's worse than plucking chickens, but I have tried it several ways, and this is the best way.
Okay.
Now, for those of you, unfortunately, since this is not an on-site show, we're not going to be able to have any of Jim's banana bread today. However, if you've been going to the breakfast at the church for the last 5 years, I brought banana bread probably once a month, a small one, into the church. The problem is the people I sit next to, Chuck and Betty, in the back row, we're pretty much back row people, that Betty knows my banana bread's pretty good, usually first in line, eats about half of it. So, okay, now, in the bottom of the bag, there's this black looking stuff, right? This is the banana oil from the banana skins and the bananas. This is the stuff that really has the flavor. Okay, well, we're done with the yucky part. So now, okay, another thing that I do that is completely different than any recipe I have ever seen, but it works, is I don't use granulated sugar. I use brown sugar. The reason is, I mean, first of all, you have to understand that brown sugar starts out as granulated sugar. What they do with it is they put on syrup, like Karo syrup. That's how you get brown sugar. It's not brain surgery. I think it makes the banana bread taste a lot better. And I've traded with some of my neighbors where I live over here in Chesapeake Beach, and they think that mine's better than theirs, but they're following a recipe. See, that's the whole thing. The recipe is great, but after you make the first recipe, change it around. Now, put in stuff you like. It's okay. So now next, let's see. I got a cream sugar butter mix. Okay. I've already got, it's hard to see. Anyway, there's a stick of butter in here, which is a standard recipe, pretty much. And then my brown sugar, that goes in there. Then the next thing is we need a couple of eggs. And it says, and every recipe says this. I checked 4 or 5 in the last couple of days. It says 2 eggs, unbeaten. I don't know what that means. Anyway, I mean, how do you get them in the bread? Anyway, so we put them in the bowl. So far, we've got sugar, butter, and a couple of eggs. Now we're going to get the blender out, and I hope it works. You know, you would think that something should last more than 50 years, but you know, I don't. Okay. Banana bread is also really great tasting to, you know, lick the beater. The only thing I found out in cooking was be sure you turn the mixer off first. Okay. Now, let's see what the recipe says. All right. Oh, yeah. I also am very careful to measure everything really carefully. It says you need a tablespoon of lemon juice. So,
Teaspoon.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know why you need lemon juice. I don't know what that does. But anyway, being as I don't have a bunch of lemons, so we have to be very careful how we measure this. That's it. Okay. We're done with that. Now we need, oh yeah, we got to stir in the bananas. All right. Now for just my measuring cup says we have slightly over 2 cups of bananas. And I would say that's, that's about minimum. 2.5 would even be better, but you know, I was under pressure for the show. I didn't have time to rotten anymore. So, okay, so we put the rotten bananas in there, and we don't want to miss anything. on the brown sugar, I have found, I use dark brown, but light brown is good. And there's nothing wrong with regular sugar. I just don't think it's as good. Okay, now we're going back here. Do the banana. I want this fairly blended up, pretty well chopped up. And you can, it should be pretty runny. Wow, you can really smell the banana oil in this. Okay, then we need a half a tablespoon of salt. I don't know why. Anyway, you got to be very careful when you're measuring this stuff. Salt probably does some sort of chemical reaction because I don't think you're putting it in for the flavor, right? Just a minute, I'm worn out. I have to have a coffee break. Okay, now, okay, now we're going to put in the nuts. This is roughly about a cup and a half. Now, I blend these down pretty small. The reason is I don't like eating banana bread and getting nut chunks. So, this stuff is, it's down here about like breadcrumbs. Not quite, but pretty close. And actually, I think that's important. I don't, you can buy, different kinds of nuts, and they're kind of cracked and so forth. I buy those because they're cheaper, but then I still run them through my mixer. And some people, I know I have friends, we've played around with a lot of banana bread that put those in, but then you're biting on a nut chunk. And I'm not, I don't know. I'm not into it. Okay, so now. All right. Oh, yeah, we got to get the flour in here. Some recipes call for sifted flour. I don't know. I don't sift it. I might mix it, but I don't sift it. Let's see. We need 3 teaspoons of baking powder. So now we're going to put in the baking powder. Then we need to put in our 2 cups of flour. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to blend in the first cup of flour and the baking powder. It starts getting a lot thicker now. Okay. Now we're going to add the last of the nuts. Okay, now we're going to add, simply because I have some dates, we're putting in the dates. About a half a cup. Then we have a bunch of craisins here. So we need a few of those. They're good. And I always measure this stuff very carefully. Well, we're done with that. Then we're going to blend a little more. My mixer is starting to sound a little tired. I have a feeling one of these days it'll break. You would think you'd be able to get more than 50 years out of it. Now, unfortunately, the way this is set up, we're not going to have the ability to do tastings, but next virtual coffee, if people want me to, I'll eat some banana bread in front of you having coffee so you can see what it tastes like. Well, not exactly. But
Well, you can do that tomorrow morning when we have the outreach breakfast.
that's right. The outreach breakfast is tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Now there is a trick. I'm not sure I'd try this at home, but you see all the stuff on the beater. There's an actually easy way to get it off. This looks crazy, but
That's brilliant. I never thought of that.
The other way to do that is once you've taken most of the batter out into your bread pan, do it right in your same bowl.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is what I do. They both work.
More fun to listen.
but remember, licking the beaters, be sure you shut that off. Okay, so now, let's see, we got everything here? Yes. Yeah, we got that. Okay, now we're gonna, well, we should have done it before. Okay, we're turning on the oven here. And now something I'm going to show you, which I think is really cool, but it's a little tricky. It looks easy, but it's, anyway. Banana bread makes a nice gift. You're going over somebody's house for dinner, and you know, you can bring them a bottle of wine, and you look downstairs for some cheap wine somebody gave you, because after all, Seinfeld says you can re-gift that stuff. And the problem is, you're afraid that if you bring that into the house, that they're going to want to drink it because you like it, and you don't. You were trying to get rid of it. So The trick with wine is that you don't want to drink, but you want to give it to these people because they're not connoisseurs. That you leave it in the car until you're leaving, and then when you leave, you say, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to give you the wine." Give them the wine and drive away. The other thing you can do is put your banana bread in different sized dishes when you bake it. Then you have, I mean, I've got all kinds of little pans. I can make individual ones for breakfast, which I've done. But it's a simple idea, but it's really cool because you go to somebody's house and you bring them, let's put some saran wrap on it and a bow, a ribbon, a little piece of ribbon. Hell, it looks like people don't do that. So, well, most people. Anyway, with this, it works. It makes a very nice gift, and it's cheaper than a bottle of wine. And then I'm a big believer in the spray oil. And my banana breads, you pop them out of the dish when it's hot. You let them get cold, they'll stick to the glass. So I've had that experience, so you don't want to do that. So now, oh, yeah, in case I forget, different size pans cook differently. Because regular old loaf pan, just a standard loaf pan, the recipes all say 55, 60 minutes. Maybe 40 minutes on these guys. So what I do is you have to have, it's a very sophisticated test. You can use infrared thermal sensing equipment, or you can use a toothpick. My mother used to take, straw off of a broom and test stuff. Man, don't do that. Sorry, Mom, but yeah, don't do that. It just didn't seem like a good idea. Okay, so what we do here is, first of all, this thing's heavy. We're going to put, to make it easier for me, is we're going to put some in the bread loaf pan, make it lighter. Then we're going to put it into the little loaf pans. The other thing is, if nobody's invited you out to dinner or over to their house for dinner for a while, first of all, I know how that feels, but you can freeze these things. Banana bread frozen really works. Yeah, I don't even know if this is banana bread. I think it's banana nut, date. I'm not even sure.
Jim, if you wanted to make just the one big one, will the batter fit in the one big pan?
Yep, it'll come over the top about 1.5 inches. It looks great.
Oh, after it's baked.
After it's baked. Yeah, see, this is what, you fill them up to about 75%. You want them to come out with a good cap or crown or whatever it is. And then the one that's left, I'll show you this in a minute, it actually works. It may not, well, obviously it's not going to be as big, but remember, I made a bigger recipe too. I put in more nuts, more bananas, and dates and stuff. Another cooking trick I learned in one of the cooking schools I took, that it seems really simple and silly, but it's not. Don't bake this kind of stuff in a non-preheated oven. Preheat the oven. Otherwise, the burners that are heating will cook the bottom of the bread quicker, because that's where the heat comes from. You want to wait till it's better. And actually, on this kind of stuff, a convection oven works better. So, this is only up, you kind of see it from the side there, for about here. It's up about 60%. It'll come up toward the top, but it won't come up over the top. But then these, I'll probably freeze and wait for an appropriate moment. Okay, right now we're at 275. Now, here's another trick. Not necessarily a good trick, but a trick. You can do it in your bowl, or I have a big 2-cup thing. You want to clean the beaters. They're about 80% clean. And we didn't even make a horrendous mess. So, any questions? Oh, the other thing, I have done this. I'm not doing it today, but you can take things like craisins, dates, even nuts, and sprinkle over the top. I've done that a couple of times. I just didn't think it fit for a bread, but I've done it and it works. I mean, it makes it look really pretty, but.
Jim,
yeah.
I was very impressed with you putting the bananas in the freezer and how white they came out. When my mom and when I've made them when they're getting blackish and they're soft, but the bananas are brownish. This is much, much better looking. And
Yeah,
I'm going to try the freezer trick.
Yeah, there's a few little tricks I just picked up that, nobody told me about the freezer thing. I just didn't know what to do with the bananas, so I threw them in the freezer. And then I realized, holy mackerel, this works way better.
So do you freeze them while they're still relatively good, or you wait until they're getting really soft and dark?
No, yeah, I don't like them overripe. They start getting mushy. That's the end of it. I put them in the freezer. Because I eat 2 or 3 bananas a week. But some weeks I might eat one, and then I'm traveling, come back, and the other 2 look like they'd be good for banana bread. Another thing you can add, and it's in the recipe, it's only 1 page, half of it, is I've added pineapple. You could probably add other fruits too. I don't know. Again, it's whatever you like. The pineapple, actually, I thought was pretty good, but traditional people I was giving a banana bread to, some people are very traditional. Putting pineapple in banana bread, they thought even if it tasted good, that's not right. You're not supposed to do that. So okay.
Tell them that it's pineapple bread.
Well,
There you go. With some banana added.
yeah. Well, it's what we used to call in chemistry. This is a great substrate for adding whatever you want. And if you like it, it works good. Okay, we're up to we're at 350. So I'm going to put these in. And then I'm setting the timer for 30 minutes, and then I'll check. The big one won't be done, but the little guys, it's the old toothpick thing. If it comes out dry, it's cooked. If it comes out soggy, let it go a little longer. This banana bread, the way I do it, is fairly moist. I think so, don't you? Yeah, I mean, it comes out pretty moist. Some of my friends' banana breads, they come out more like bread. Yeah, I mean, it's okay, whatever, but mine comes out moister. And you can't really overdo on the bananas. The only thing is if you use more than 2.5 cups, then cook it longer. You know, stick your toothpick in and cook it longer. Okay, are there any other comments or questions? Else, I think Kip has something else to do or something.
I did, if no one else has anything. How would you modify it for zucchini or carrots?
Well, then you're going into a vegetable bread. And I've done vegetable breads. They come out pretty good. What I've done is, no bananas. But you make, yeah, you make a vegetable bread, but then what I do is use I don't use a loaf pan. I'll use like a, maybe a 9 by 12 pan and make it only about 2 inches high. And then that you'd serve as a side dish at dinner. Banana bread would be served breakfast, coffee time, evening, and I'll tell you what is really good with banana bread. You cut it up into squares and pour some liqueur over it. Amaretto, something. I mean, I'll tell you what, that's a pretty slick dessert. But
I have made a sweet zucchini bread.
Yeah.
It was almost too sweet. Need to cut the sugar, but I just wondered if this might work for that.
Yeah. I've made vegetable breads out of this. I make more, let's see, I do a zucchini souffle, which is really pretty good. Yeah. I have one of my zucchini souffles in the freezer.
Wow.
And I've really played with this to get it down pretty good. So you use about 4 pounds of zucchini, and I don't peel them. I cut the ends off, cut them up, and then mash them and all that. And then I add about, 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese, a cup of well-seasoned breadcrumbs, sour cream, a couple of eggs, and then I use different kinds of seasonings in them. I grow most of my own seasonings. I'm drying down right now. This is oregano. I got this out of the garden about 3 days ago, and then yesterday took the stems off. And as soon as it dries another day, I'll grind it up. But I use a lot of oregano. Well, I'm half Italian. You don't have a choice. You have to do it. Your grandparents would be all over it. So anyway, and then I use like Lowry seasoning salt, and I use Joe's stuff from the New Orleans cooking school, where I've taken a number of classes, and different kinds of seasonings. I'll use basil. I grow my own basil and oregano. So the souffles, they work really good. Now I don't do them as a bread. I have made zucchini bread, and it's good, but it's just more work. This is easy. Okay.
Well, I'm looking forward to trying this recipe. I have bananas in the freezer right now.
Oh, good. Yeah, good.
Thanks, Jim. Looks good.
You're very welcome, very welcome. Yes, this is my second try at this. I did chili last time.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, banana bread is good. I have some very good hors d'oeuvres recipes that are kind of interesting. But anyway, yeah, what we should do is actually film this in the church kitchen. So after on a Sunday morning early, then we can have the banana, whatever it is, there at the coffee.
Well, Jim, thank you very much.
Oh, no, welcome. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Besides, I got my banana bread cooked and I needed it anyway. So that was
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.